Okay, thank you. And good afternoon, and welcome to the press conference of a new film in the official competition, CRAI NOU, Blue Moon, a film that forms part of the official section of the 69th edition of the San Sebastian Film Festival. To talk about the film, we have several members of the crew, cast and crew. We've got Adrian Padrezzo, who is the DOP, Gabi Suchu, who is the producer, Dikas Postenico, who is Alina Grigori, Yona Chitu, who's the main actress, and Vlad Ivanov, who is in San Sebastian again, having been in the jury a few years back in the film festival. It's a pleasure to have you all here today, and I'm not too sure whether there are any questions, but we can start with, yes, somebody is going to ask a question, I hope. Good. Yeah, hi, good afternoon. Could you explain, the director, could you explain this story, whether it's very close to reality or not, or whether this type of control of the women by families or a cousin can end up being, to go to the extremes that the cousin does in the film? I suppose you could, and by the way, you can talk without your mask on if that's okay. Much more comfortable for you.
Yes, so it was a subject that was inspired from reality, from the village I grew up in. We had a talk with some of the girls there, and what I really liked about that moment when I talked to her and she told me the stories was that I couldn't actually understand a storyline out of what she was saying, but I could live together with her some sort of an emotional line. And it was important for us to be able to do that. Unfortunately, yeah, that is the reality for Romania. When I was out of my village, I think I was one of the few, or maybe the only one, who pursued further education, and I really thought that this is something that might change during the years. And when I went back, I had a talk with my mom, actually, and it's the same situation there. Unfortunately, girls are most of the times forced to travel outside, not necessarily forced by someone, but it's this, exactly what you've seen, this mental manipulation, this psychological game that is taking place inside a family or inside a community. And they're mostly forced to, I don't know, get married, remain in the house of their parents, or go abroad to make some money, or have kids, or and so on. So yes, it is a little bit inspired from my community.
Any further questions? Yes, there's one here. You've worked as the script writer, as an actress. What has taken you to go behind the camera and direct a film?
Years ago, we founded Inlight Center, which is a research hub for acting. It's one of my biggest passions, to research the process itself. So what I usually like to do is to test the way you're telling a story in many different ways. So the way we worked, and it's something that I like more than being an actress, and probably I actually like more to be a teacher than being a director, but they work together a lot. So what we did was that we worked on the characters, and one of the methods that we approached was that I encouraged the actor to work together on researching their characters. For example, I'm going to lower my volume a little bit because I can hear myself too much. For example, when we're researching the character as actors, what we do is that we look inside, we look into the script, we look outside, we have a certain kitchen that we're using. And what I did was encouraging the actors to try and to do that research together. So Ioana and Mircea, for example, they built up common memories. And it's very important for me to have this type of work that you search more on the psychological side of the character and you understand the motivations and the purpose of the character. And I think that was something that might transcend into the film.
Sí. Aprovechando.
Taking advantage of this question, perhaps Gabby, who's the producer, could explain how the idea, Alina's idea, how it materialized. What were you interested as a producer of the script or the film that Alina was addressing, and how did the production process come about at the end of the day for the film?
Yes, I have known Alina for quite a while, having worked with her as an actress before this. I've been following her whole work in Light. I was amazed to hear about the performance they did with Illegitimate, and when she sent me the script, I was already bought, although the script was very different from the film you see because of the whole process she's using. She's also involving all the creative departments a lot. She has a specific way of working with a DOP who is involved very early on in building the characters. The same goes for the production design and even taking care of all the small details with makeup. For her, making a film is a very long process because she really wants everyone to be there and to know that project like it's their other life. It's like playing a game when you have to know your character to win the game.
Sí, no sé si Alina, si querías añadir algo.
Alina, did you want to add anything there? Alina, do you want to add anything?
She reminded me of something. One of the most important things was working with Adrian, the director of photography, because we asked ourselves who is seeing the film, who's the public, and we really wanted for the public to become Irina or to become Irina's emotions. So he came with some awesome proposals about how to express that, and that's why we had the long shots. That's why every time Irina is a victim, she's centered and everything around her is blurred. And when he's the aggressor, everything around him is visible. And when they switch places and he becomes the victim and she becomes the aggressor, Adrian kept the same aesthetics in a way. He becomes centered and blurred all around. So I know that we talked about building a mise-en-scène that keeps the rhythm inside the scene, having long shots, and he played a lot with the depth of fields to make this possible.
Y bueno, ya quizás.
And perhaps a question, working with the actors, we've got three of the actors here with us. The film is based a lot of, obviously, on Iona's character, but there are many other that are, because it's an ensemble piece. I would like to know, how did you work with them, with the actors of the characters that you'd had imagined, or that Iona would that's a very important part of the film because it's so natural the way the actors portray their roles. Any of the three actors could answer this question. What was it like working with the director, and what was your experience working in the film? Or how was it? Yep. Better. No. No. Yes. She was just saying. It was just saying. It was a question towards the actors, and how was the process? Momento. And how was the process, and the actors can answer, how was the process working with you? Because it was a flawless performance of all of them. It seemed very natural. And what was their point of view and as regards to shooting the film with you and their experience, okay?
So we started work.
Take your mask off. It'd be much more comfortable, I imagine. There you go. Thank you.
We started working and rehearse 2 years prior to the shooting, so we had some time to develop and to recreate some situations, and we had time to try things. And what I think it helped me a lot was that we went 3 or 4 times at the location, at the cabin in the mountains, and also during the shooting we were staying there, so that was our place, and I think the whole environment and the space helped me a lot to focus, to be there.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, first of all. Then, of course, we had a lot of rehearsal and everything about the script and the direction we were taking with each scene was carefully worked at. And then, of course, when we got there, and as Ioana said, not only once, but before the shoot also. But when we got there, for myself, I kind of got this rhythm of the place and of the people that were there, and the Ursu family, and everybody there had the mountain, and living up there gives you something and gives you a certain rhythm, a certain way of even moving and doing everything. And I tried to steal a little bit of that. And of course, I don't know how you asked about the ensemble and working with an ensemble. I don't know how things are here in Spain, but in Romania, family and this type of celebrating and not only celebrating, because spending time is very common, and this is very common to us, for me, I think, and that was also a big part of it.
First of all, I want to thank you to the staff of the festival to be here, to be nominated in main competition. We are all very, very happy to be here. And speaking about my experience with Alina, with other actors, and with Gabi and Adi, I saw the film, and I can tell you that I feel lucky to be in this production, in this film, because Alina called me and told me, Vlad, I will do my first feature film, and the set is really amazing. It's a beautiful view. Please come and stay there. And I told her, I can't coming and stay, do it nothing. I want to help you like a member of the crew or something to help. And she told me, Vlad, if you want, you have a part in this film. And she started to write for me more than she wrote it. So I started to work with I knew Mircea before I played with him in another film, but it was a great pleasure to discover everybody, especially the sequences when we are lots of actors talking together, and camera was moving between us. So we had so much, not so much, some of rehearsal because we didn't have so much time to shoot, but it was very, very intense.
¿Hay alguna?
Yes. Any further questions? Yeah, there's another one, and there's another one here. Okay. There's a chaotic energy practically in all of the scenes in the film. That chaos, is that something that emerged naturally, or was it something that was really calculated already in the script?
Yes, I had this obsession, and I got really scared because everyone around me told me, no, you have to have a storyline. If you don't have a storyline, and I told them, yes, but as I told you before, when I talked to that girl, I told them, yes, but I think it would be very powerful to be able to create an emotional storyline. So it was a lot of work to do that. We worked together on that. We researched deeply the psychological side of both these characters. The editor was pretty scared also. He would always tell us that if we're going to do a long shot, we might have problems with the rhythm. And then there was a lot, as I said, there was a lot of work with the director of photography, with Adrian Pădurețu. So yes, everything you saw was planned step by step. We did, I think it's the most important thing is for us to be a team. I really believe in this, in collaborative work. So every time I would work on the script, we had, I think, around 50 drafts of the script, maybe even more, like very different drafts of the script, because every time we would work together with the whole team, it was important to leave their creative power to express. I never thought that I don't have anything against controlling directors. I think it's a method. But as I told you, it's a research hub, and we really want to understand the process. So we were working with that type of process, and it was important for me for them to be very, very free creatively. So this is why when we did the mise-en-scène, for example, the actors would do precisely what they felt. They would relate one to the other. They would follow their purpose. And me and Adrian, we would be there to understand the best way to represent whatever they would feel. And we did that 1 year prior to shooting, and we kind of stick to that. So we stick to whatever, and they stick to their movements, but they had complete freedom to relate. Of course, this was after a lot of work on the psychology of the characters. So maybe the hardest thing was precisely that, to stay with Adrian and to have this tango with the actors. I think we had there was a whole tango between each member of the creative team, including the editor.
I would also add that in this process, it was also very important that the technical part of filmmaking is not getting in the way. Lights, the grip department, they were all set so that it doesn't affect the movement of the actors. So everything is...
Hablamos mucho de Adrián, pero
We talk a lot about Adrian, but Adrian, why don't you tell us a bit about your experience?
Thank you so much for being here. And yes, what can I say about me? It was a huge opportunity to work with Alina. She's a very different director that I used to work, and yes, it was a 1 year or 2, I don't know exactly, a collaboration with her and develop, as she said, the character, and but everything was set actually in the very end of shooting. When we shoot the last, when we were in the set, we said, okay, let's have another mise-en-scène and let the character play around, because the space, you know, when you see the first time the entire space, it looks in a way, and when you start to shoot it, it looks other, you know, it's different because the character, the actor, they did the best all the time, and then I was motivated to do also to grow up with them and have this kind of let's just say a fake POV. Sometimes the camera became POV, but it's not a POV. It's just a partner with the very first close actor to the lens. So it was very, very interesting to work, and it wasn't so easy, but I was very happy to be part of this project. Thank you.
gracias. Teníamos
We have another question there, yes. Hi, I'd like to know to what extent the cinema that you like, Lina, or which has helped you to train yourself cinematographically, has influenced you in making this film. For example, the near-realist movements, or whether that you have had those references and they have affected you when shooting the film, yes?
Yes, definitely. I had a class in the university, and it sticks with me while I was in my PhD studies. The Italian and the French cinema, of course, the Nouvelle Vague. But to be honest, on the style, I am a huge fan of Werner Herzog. I'm obsessed with the way he works, with the fact that he's able to give freedom to his to the whole team. I'm also, on the other hand, I really like what is happening right now. I feel that cinematography around the world is combining a lot this realistic way of seeing whatever a character or a story with some sort of an aesthetic expression. For example, The Lobster. I feel that it's a film that has the courage, and I feel that this kind of cinema has the courage to combine a realistic point of view with a very different aesthetic expression.
Muy bien.
Okay. We have to finish now, but there's time for one last question if anyone dares to do so. Yes, there is. There's one over there. A question for the director. You've worked with Cristi Wiu or Adrian Citaliu, for example. I would like to know what do you believe that you've learned from them, or whether you talk to them or to ask for any type of advice before starting to shoot your film?
They had a huge influence on this. Actually, Adrian Citaro was the one who encouraged me to do filmmaking after Illegitimate. He said, I really think you should try directing, because he kind of gave me the part of working with the actors for Illegitimate. So they had a huge influence on me. I called Adrian Citaro at 5 a.m. in the morning in the last day of shooting, and he actually answered at 7 a.m. He was like, oh, I'm so sorry I didn't answer at 5 a.m. And I was like, Adrian, it's okay. Thank you so much for helping me. Yeah, I think they're both huge directors. I think Adrian has a lot of courage to experiment. And he always encouraged me to do that. I told him about this obsession of not necessarily following a storyline, but following an emotional line, a psychological path, and the psychological journey of the main character. And he said, go for it. You have to research that and you have to try that. So yes, they had huge influence. And Cristi Puiu was my teacher in university, and we worked together for Aurora, and he's also very obsessed with this side of researching and understanding things at a more deeper level when we talk about the way characters relate.
Muy bien. Bueno, pues.
Okay, well, we have to finish this press conference. All we want to do is thank the whole team, everyone here, for coming to San Sebastian with the film CRAI NOU. We're very happy to have you in the official section, and the best of luck here in the festival and the future of the film. Thank you very much for coming to San Sebastian.
Thank you so much for inviting us. I want to say that. Thank you so much. It's like we feel like children to the big parties. Thank you so much.
Enjoy then.